Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video, we're going to talk about the anatomy and function of the thyroid gland, a small but extremely important gland whose dysfunction can be the underlying cause of many diseases in the body. The thyroid gland is located at the front of the neck, exactly anterior to the trachea and in the lower part of the larynx. This gland has a butterfly-like shape and consists of two right and left lobes that are connected to each other by a structure called the isthmus. As you can see, anatomically, the thyroid is located in a very sensitive position. Because of its close proximity to important blood vessels and nerves, thyroid involvement, whether due to disease or surgery, can lead to serious complications. For example, pressure on or injury to the recurrent laryngeal nerve can result in hoarseness and speech disturbances. Next, to better understand the function of the thyroid gland, we need to take a look at its histology. As you can see in this histological section, the thyroid gland is composed of numerous follicles arranged next to each other. The interior of each follicle is filled with a secretory substance called colloid, a material that is produced by the surrounding cuboidal epithelial cells and secreted into this space. Surrounding the follicles are C cells, or parafollicular cells, which play a role in regulating plasma calcium levels by secreting the hormone calcitonin. Finally, the hormones secreted by the thyroid enter the surrounding blood capillaries and, through this route, reach their target cells throughout the body. Now that we're familiar with the histology of the thyroid gland, let's see exactly how thyroid hormones are synthesized. The image you see here represents one of the cuboidal epithelial cells of the thyroid follicles. Iodine, which enters the body through the diet, along with sodium and via the sodium iodide symporter, enters the follicular cells. In this way, iodine accumulates inside the cell. In the next step, iodine is transported into the follicular lumen through an iodide-chloride exchanger called pendrin. However, this is not the end of the process. For iodine to participate in subsequent reactions, it must be converted into its active or oxidized form. This is carried out by the enzyme thyroid peroxidase with the help of hydrogen peroxide. After oxidation, the activated iodine must bind to a large glycoprotein called thyroglobulin. Thyroglobulin contains a large number of the amino acid tyrosine and is synthesized in the follicular cells within the endoplasmic reticulum, then processed in the Golgi apparatus, and finally secreted into the follicular lumen. Although the binding of iodine to tyrosine residues can occur spontaneously, the presence of the enzyme thyroid peroxidase allows this process to occur with much greater speed and efficiency. As a result, iodine binds to the tyrosines present in thyroglobulin, forming monoiodotyrosine, or MIT, and diiodotyrosine, or DIT. Next, these molecules couple with each other. The coupling of MIT and DIT leads to the formation of triiodothyronine, or T3, and the coupling of two DIT molecules results in the formation of thyroxine, or T4. Up to this point, thyroid hormones have been synthesized, but they are still stored within the thyroglobulin molecule in the follicular lumen and are not yet able to exert their metabolic effects. At this stage, the follicular cells come into action. These cells take up thyroglobulin molecules containing thyroid hormones and their precursors through pinocytosis, forming pinocytic vesicles. These vesicles then fuse with lysosomes, and the proteolytic enzymes within the lysosomes degrade thyroglobulin. During this process, T3, T4, MIT, and DIT molecules are released. Finally, the follicular cell secretes the active hormones T3 and T4 into the bloodstream so that upon reaching their target tissues, they can exert their metabolic effects. But what happens to the released MIT and DIT? This is where the enzyme deiodinase comes into play. This enzyme removes iodine from these molecules, and the resulting iodine and tyrosine re-enter the synthesis cycle to be reused for the production of new hormones. A question that might come to mind here is why we have two thyroid hormones, even though their overall functions are almost the same. The reality is that despite their similar functions, there are important differences between T3 and T4. The hormone T3 is biologically more active and can produce stronger and faster metabolic effects compared to T4. On the other hand, T3 has a shorter half-life, while T4 has a longer half-life and remains in the circulation for a longer period of time. For this reason, The thyroid gland naturally secretes a larger amount of T4 to provide a stable and long-lasting source of hormone in the body. Additionally, in target tissues, T4 is converted to T3 by deiodinase enzymes so that stronger and locally required metabolic effects can be exerted within those tissues. Now that we're familiar with how thyroid hormones are synthesized, let's see what roles these hormones play in the body. An important point is that nearly all cells in the body have receptors for thyroid hormones. Therefore, the effects of these hormones are very broad and systemic. One of the most important roles of thyroid hormones is the regulation of basal metabolism. T3 and T4 increase oxygen consumption and stimulate mitochondrial activity, leading to increased energy and heat production in cells. As a result, increased levels of these hormones are associated with an increased metabolic rate, while decreased levels are associated with a reduced metabolic rate. Thyroid hormones also play a key role in regulating body temperature. By increasing heat production in cells, these hormones help maintain normal body temperature. For this reason, individuals with hyperthyroidism typically experience heat intolerance, while those with hypothyroidism experience cold intolerance. Another important effect of thyroid hormones is their impact on the cardiovascular system. These hormones increase the number and sensitivity of beta-adrenergic receptors in the heart, leading to increased heart rate, contractility, and cardiac output. Consequently, elevated thyroid hormone levels can result in palpitations and tachycardia. Thyroid hormones also affect the central nervous system. During fetal life and early childhood, these hormones are essential for normal brain growth and development, and their deficiency can lead to irreversible neurological damage. In adults, thyroid hormones influence alertness, concentration, and psychological state. In the gastrointestinal system, thyroid hormones increase intestinal motility and the speed of gastrointestinal transit. Therefore, diarrhea is common in hyperthyroidism, while constipation is common in hypothyroidism. On the other hand, thyroid hormones also play a role in growth and development. By stimulating protein synthesis and interacting with growth hormone, these hormones are essential for the normal growth of bones and tissues. So, up to this point, we've seen how crucial thyroid hormones are for our body, and how any disturbance in their levels can affect almost all of the body's mechanisms. For this reason, the levels of these hormones must be precisely regulated and continuously monitored. This regulatory function in our body is carried out by the hypothalamic pituitary thyroid axis. When the level of thyroid hormones in the blood decreases, the hypothalamus responds by secreting a hormone called TRH, which stimulates the anterior pituitary gland. In response to this stimulation, the anterior pituitary secretes the hormone TSH. TSH acts as a stimulatory signal to the thyroid follicular cells, increasing iodine uptake, enhancing hormone synthesis, and ultimately leading to increased secretion of thyroid hormones. As the levels of thyroid hormones in the blood rise, these hormones inhibit both the hypothalamus and the pituitary through a negative feedback mechanism, reducing the secretion of TRH and TSH and maintaining hormonal balance in the body. If this video was helpful, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future medical content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.